To say that I'm moved by this presentation, marking my 30th year as an accredited local preacher, is an understatement. It represents the culmination of a task I set myself when I was in my 20s. To appreciate what I'm going to say, you need to go back to when I was born. My parents were both committed Christians, initially Anglicans, and members of St Paul's Church in Luton. After many years there, they broke away and became Christadelphians, a fundamentalist sect. Ultimately, they disagreed with their doctrines, and they formed a breakaway group known as the Ecclesia of Christ, or Brotherhood of Christ. Eventually, after a number of years, my father became leader of the group, who incidentally are still very active in the area. And they held even stronger fundamental beliefs, living a first century life in a 20th century setting. I was brought up in this extremely strict atmosphere, which I accepted because I didn't know any other. I didn't enter into any form of connection with the outside world. No insurances, no wireless, no radios, no unions, no socialising with anyone outside their sect, basing all their beliefs on Jesus' own words. Be not of this world, even as I am not of this world. All of this, of course, was before I was born. I had two brothers, one was stillborn, and the other died after 3 months, and then I came along. My mother told me that I only weighed 2 pounds, too small for a cot, so I slept in the shopping basket. Whether this had anything to do with the fact that I couldn't stop crying, I don't know. But the doctor told my mother that if I didn't stop crying before 12 o'clock that evening, I would be gone. My father prayed earnestly that I should be allowed to live, and if I did, he would ensure that I would be brought up to serve him as he did. I kept crying until 12 o'clock, and on the stroke of midnight, I stopped. And I'm still going 91 years later. I had an enjoyable childhood, despite the strict rulings, no friends allowed, only relatives in the faith. But Dad introduced me to Christ through daily Bible readings and prayers and weekend and midweek meetings. I remember having to learn long passages of Scripture. Some I still remember, like Proverbs 3, authorised version, of course, verse 13 on. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the purchase of it, for the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, in her left hand riches and honour. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. Eventually, when I came to the age of discretion, about 18, Dad wanted me to take over his role eventually. But the thought terrified me. I was scared stiff of public speaking, so I rebelled, left home, and signed on as a regular in the RAF as a driver. Imagine my surprise when, after my initial training, I was posted to a small airfield near a settlement 5 miles northwest of Jerusalem called Colundia. And I was there until the mandate finished in 1948. It wasn't until I got back to this country and I was studying through some concordances and found that the spot where I was staying was actually the original Emmaus. And the Romans renamed it Colundia. And I was actually travelling up the Emmaus Road every day to Jerusalem to get the company rations. No, I don't think that was just coincidence. If only I'd known at the time. When I came out of the RAF in 1952, I got married to a girl in Chorlton, whom I'd known for quite a few years, and she was a Methodist. And she introduced me to a faith that I could understand and enjoy. And the rest is history. However, and this is the important part, I kept the promise I made to my dad, that my life will be governed by God and I will continue to serve him in my way, spreading the good news. And that I have done for the last 48 years, 18 as an auxiliary and 30 of them as an accredited local preacher. Successfully, I hope. Now I've got something to prove it. Thank you very much.